Good morning. Today I'm with Kaushal. Thank you, Kaushal, for agreeing to be on the podcast today.
Of course, it's my pleasure. I'm so glad you made the drive
down
to San Diego.
We've been talking about it forever, so thank you so much. So I wanted to start, if you don't mind, talking a little bit about your background. I know you don't like talking about yourself, but I wanted to talk about it just so that everybody knows who we're talking to. So originally, you are a businesswoman, you're an entrepreneur. And currently you own a real estate brokerage here in town, but your career didn't start in real estate. Your career started in television. You were a news anchor, reporter. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I had a front row seat to history, so I feel like really, really blessed that I got to experience that. I was in television for 16 years. I started when I was 10. Anybody who knows me knows I hate talking about age because age is just a number. I look at it on my driver's license and I'm like, that just can't be right. But I started when I was a senior in college in television, and I worked through a lot of cities across the United States. I even worked in Hong Kong overseas, and I worked for CNN. So I've had a pretty illustrious career. And I also worked in San Diego on television. And when it came time to making a decision to leave San Diego, you know, one of the things when you come to San Diego, you fall in love with the city. It's called America's finest city, or I like to call it paradise for a reason. So I was no exception. When I came here, I wanted to end my career here. I just wanted to stay here. But in television, you want to kind of climb the ladder and go to the top. I feel like I was already at the top. There was only a couple more stops, and I would have to go to the East Coast. And that's when I made the tough decision to leave television, stay here. And something my dad always told me is like, I would really excel at being a real estate agent. And I was like, Dad, I work on television. You know, I love what I do. But I've always been fascinated with building and homes and, you know, all of the shows. But that is not what real estate is at all about. You know, it's hustling, it's grinding. But you're telling a different type of story, right? You know, you're learning about buyers and sellers and what their needs are. And so what I did was take my skill set, you know, thinking outside the box, being a great communicator, a negotiator, content creator, and parlayed them into helping buyers and sellers. And so I really feel like they get a super agent when they're working with me. And it's really been fulfilling. And I really feel grateful that I get to do this, you know. I get to be involved in helping people buy a piece of their paradise in San Diego.
Would you say that it's the love for San Diego that you have that really was like, okay, this is it, like it's time to move on? I love our city, you know, but before we get into our city, let's talk a little bit about your passion. Of course.
So like, why are you so passionate about home insurance? How did you get involved with home insurance? And I've worked with you and I've sent you clients, and they've been, you know, beyond thrilled with the service they've gotten. So, you know, I know that you're really good at what you do, but like, how did it all start?
To be honest, it was by accident. Totally
As all good things are,
Yeah.
right? Television was an accident for me, by the way, so I understand.
Yeah, no, it was completely by accident. It started also in high school. It was my first job out of high school. It was not planned. I wanted to be a lawyer when I was in school, but
you still can't.
I know.
Well,
I hated school though.
Yeah.
I have like an ADHD where I get like distracted after 10 or 15 minutes, and I can't sit in class for that long.
Do we need to leave? Do we need to do a walking field trip?
We're good. But we can later. Okay. We're at a beautiful property right now, which we'll talk about a little bit. It started in high school, and to be honest, originally it was the money that I could make. That was like 100% truth. I started doing really well in this industry at a really young age, and it was originally about money. We didn't come from money, and this was a vehicle to make money, and that's what sort of caught me at the beginning. And then I started learning about the coverages and different ways, different policies protect families. So we don't call them policies at our office, we call them solutions. So this is a solution to a problem.
I like that.
And what is the solution that we're trying to solve? Some people are price shoppers. They could care less about the coverages. They just want the cheapest. And having that upfront dialogue with the customer, what do you want, right? Best coverages, a specific type of coverages. Do you not care about the coverage? And do you just want the cheapest one? That's okay too, but we're still gonna have a conversation of what you're not having, so that if something does happen, we can make sure that we're on the same page. And hey, remember, you didn't want to buy that coverage, so this is why you're not covered.
Do you feel like this is a long-term, because when I work with buyers, it's not just a transaction, this is now a lifelong friend, a lifelong client, so to speak. So do you feel the same way? It's not just a sale, you're in their lives for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, definitely. And especially because at our office, it's not just home insurance. It's home, small business, auto, life insurance. And as you evolve, so maybe we get you when you're buying your first house in your 20s, 30s, and then comes the family, and then comes multiple cars, and then comes different needs for life insurance. So it really is a journey, and it's important to find the right agent at the right time, because as you continue through your journey, your coverages and your needs will change with it.
Do you think buyers know to look up the address and get a quote before they even write an offer on a home, especially because basically especially San Diego County, most of it is in a high fire zone?
No, I think that because it's been in the news for so long, they hear that insurance can be a problem, and they don't think to look at a property to see, is this in a fire zone? What makes it a fire zone? So like many of the customers that we've helped you with, we've been strategic, right? And here in downtown San Diego, there is no risk of fire.
That's the best thing about downtown. I love that.
Especially these buildings, which we'll talk about later on. They're brand new. They have so many security features. They're indestructible. Nothing's going to happen to these buildings. So for insurance companies love these particular metro area.
And when we're talking about more and more cash buyers, and when you have a cash transaction, you don't have to have home insurance to close escrow, close on the loan. So are you finding that some people are foregoing home insurance because they don't need it?
Yes and no. We try and tell them that, hey, regardless if it's a requirement or not, because it's only required if you have a loan, right? You're not required if you're paying cash, but it's your biggest investment. You're paying sometimes millions of dollars for a property, and even if it's not millions of dollars, even if it's $500,000, it's still a lot of money. It's probably going to be your biggest purchase that you ever make. Why wouldn't you want to protect it? I think that if you're a cash buyer, even more reason to get proper coverage, because now it's not the bank's money, it's your money. You're all, so you're putting all your money at risk, and I don't know why you would want to do that.
Makes no sense to me. What are some things, trends or things that you're seeing that buyers or sellers should kind of keep in mind when it comes to home insurance?
So depending on the area where you're buying, the older homes are becoming a problem. These are houses that are 30 years plus. They need renovation. The 30 years old, the 2018 and newer, there's different coding and enforcement that needs to be done. So the energy efficient appliances, the tankless water heaters when it comes to homes, the solar now, those are all big things. So in older homes that are not energy efficient, the circuit breakers are a big deal. And we're seeing cancellations. Because if you have a pre-1970s home, the circuit breaker that's in there isn't equipped to handle everything that we're putting it through right now. Think of charging your iPhone, your iPad, your laptop, your 70-inch TV. Back in the 70s, they weren't meant for that. And all the appliances that we have in our house. So those breakers aren't equipped for the homes now. And if they are not upgraded, they can cause fire. The only fire claims that we've been not so lucky to have in our office came from circuit breakers, not from wildfires. So the breaker popped, caused a spark, and the house burned down.
Wow.
Yeah. Another one came from the GIF. It wasn't working properly. The iPhone was charging, it sparked, and it caused the whole bedroom to go up in flames. So the renovations to older homes is a very big deal right now.
Yeah, well, thanks for the education.
I think that's why it's such important where we are here today, right? We're at this beautiful gallery by a really well-known developer. Can you talk a little bit about where we're at?
Yeah, so we're at the Andia Sales Gallery. And before we get into the new development in downtown San Diego called Andia, I want to talk about the man who is really the visionary. And so a lot of people who live in San Diego may have heard of him, but if you haven't, Nat Bosa, he is a Canadian developer. So in Vancouver, he has redeveloped Vancouver and changed the skyline there. And so he had this vision. He came to San Diego more than 20 years ago and did the same thing. He saw these parking lots close to the water, and he's like, the light bulb went on, I could put high rises here. And so he has built he's bought more than 20 plots. And over the course of the last 20 plus years, built 3,000 condos, almost 3,000 condos in downtown San Diego.
Wow.
And so the last building that was completely sold was called Savina. It was 6 years ago. And so when you drive around downtown, you see a lot of cranes, but all of those cranes are apartments. None of them are for sale. You can't buy in those buildings. This is the first building in 6 years that has gone up. It's called Andia. It's going to be 40 stories, 399 brand new construction condos, and it's going to be completed in 2027. And the really awesome thing is that, if you can buy new construction, why would you buy resale? And right now you have a chance to pick your palette. You could pick the floor you want to be on, which direction you want to face. So it's really kind of a custom condo, and you're 2 years out. So you're buying at 2027 prices today. So it's a really unique opportunity, and it's so exciting to have Bosa back downtown, building a condo, just kind of showing, us that he has faith in downtown San Diego and has continued to change the skyline. So if you take a look at a picture of 20 years ago, 30 years ago to today, I can show and name all the 13, now 14 towers that he's built down here. Yeah. So we're really lucky to have somebody with the vision of Nat Bosa.
I think that's something that I just caught that. So there hasn't been a new building that you could buy.
Correct.
In a really long time.
Yeah, in 6 years. So the last one that was completely sold was Savina. And then before that, he built Pacific Gate, which is, a super prime building. It's magnificent.
Nice.
And all of his buildings have something really special, and they're in all different unique neighborhoods in downtown San Diego.
Okay, and you touched a little bit about all the redevelopment that's going on in San Diego. Can you expand a little bit more on that?
If I talked about everything that was going on in San Diego, we would probably never leave. So I'm going to kind of touch upon some of the things that I have found, that are really kind of transformational. And one of them has to be just 15 minutes from downtown. In Chula Vista, we have the Gaylord Resort and Convention Center. So downtown has the only convention center. As of 3 weeks ago, had the only convention center. Now there's another convention center in Chula Vista that when conventions come to town, which is, big tourism for downtown San Diego. Right. We get anywhere from, I think the number is like 35 to 50 conventions. And wow. That is what helps sustain all the businesses downtown. And, it's a huge economic moneymaker for the city. But when we're talking about the Gaylord Resort, this is 20 years in the making. The resort itself is the first one on the West Coast. So Gaylord, if you've traveled and been around to other cities, is a pretty big name in the United States. This is the first Gaylord resort on the West Coast. It opened a few weeks ago. It costs $1 billion on 36 acres, 22 stories, 1,600 hotel rooms, has a water park, and it's something just awesome for the city of Chula Vista. is going to bring in, I think the economic numbers are almost $500 million to the city. And the plan for the waterfront isn't over just yet. So the Bayfront, there's tons of plans to continue. They're going to put parks and bike lanes, and they've talked about residential and condos. So this is, that project took 20 years, to kind of come to reality, but then there's probably going to be another 5-10 years that you're going to continue to see a change at the Bayfront in Chula Vista.
Yeah.
So that's just like one thing. Then, moving down, San Diego's getting a Top Golf, which is really cool, near the airport. And talking about the airport, Lindbergh Field, everybody knows it as San Diego International. When you come into San Diego, you see all of downtown, you see all the buildings, but our airport's been in a need of a renovation, and we're getting a $4 billion renovation at Terminal 1. That's going to be completed this year, and then there's another part that everything will be completed in another 3 years. So at 2028, $4 billion, and you're going to see 13 more checkpoints in the security, more restaurants, like 30 more restaurants, 30 more gates, 185 like charging stations, EV charging stations, like 5,000 parking spots. So it's just, when you arrive in San Diego, you're not going to want to leave. So we'll just say, see you later, not goodbye. But that's a massive redevelopment that's been going on. And then coming back to downtown, there's so many. And I'm just going to name a few, and I'm just going to rattle them off. But we have the Horton campus. Then we have the Research and Development District, which is rad. We have Seaport Village, which is a 20-year renovation that will go on. There's going to be phases of it, and that's going to continue to change our skyline. You have the Manchester Pacific Gateway project. We're finally going to get our first 5-star hotel in downtown. A lot of people are surprised with all the conventions that we have. We don't have a 5-star hotel. First 5-star hotel once the Fairmont is completed. So just so many exciting things happening. The Research and Development District, which is rad. It's 6 blocks of buildings. It was going to be a big bio hub, for a big pharma to come in. That hasn't happened yet, but some of the retail spaces have been rented out. So the Rivian has its showroom there. Equinox is opening up a gym there. Javier's, which is a delicious restaurant. I'm sure you've been to Javier's. I've been to all of them. They have one in Vegas, one in Newport, one in La Jolla, and then they're opening up one downtown. And I think they're opening one in LA too.
Yeah, they just opened that one too.
Have you been to that one? No. Yeah, but it's always a party when you go to Javier's. He's my friend too.
Nice. Nice.
So many things happening. I mean, it's really hard to keep up. And I haven't even talked about some of the other cities, San Marcos, Vista, Del Mar, Rancho Santa Fe, like all of the other things that are happening in all those cities. I've kind of stayed in the city of San Diego.
Yeah. No, it's not hard to see why they call it the best city.
Yeah, America's finest city, right? Yeah. I just call it paradise.
Yeah. No, and then jokingly, they call you the mayor of San Diego.
Do you call me the mayor of San Diego? I like that.
Well, because you have so many connections around town. Like you said, this has been your home for a long time, San Diego.
Yeah, 13 years.
And you really have done a good job of just making friends everywhere. And you have...
I have a couple.
Yeah. And it seems like in all the right places you have the right friends.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Well, I feel like the energy of downtown really helps with that. And, so when people ask, well, why do you like living downtown? Why not live in the suburbs or live in La Jolla or Del Mar? I mean, there's Carlsbad. There's so many beautiful cities all over San Diego that have their own unique attributes to it. But downtown, like any city's downtown, that is the showstopper. And our downtown, there's so many things I can say about it. But the first thing is the energy on a game day. When the Padres are playing, nothing else. Yeah. You're walking around and you see, kids and people so excited with their jerseys on, walking, to Petco. And there's a ballpark in East Village. And for 3 years in a row, USA Today has voted it the most beautiful ballpark. And if you've been to Petco, it is gorgeous. You're sitting there and you're in awe because you can see the ocean. Yeah. You can see the bay. And I mean, it's just, I love Petco,
Yeah.
you know?
I've been to all the big downtowns.
Yeah.
And we went to the Capital One, the game, the college game day, the game.
Yeah.
And I asked you, hey, where should I stay?
Oh,
and
yeah.
You pointed me in.
We went to Snapdragon,
yeah.
so I took you to Snapdragon for,
So I was trying to say, like, the hotel, like, it was just like all glass, like facing like Petco Park. So in the morning I woke up, I had coffee, I was just looking at Petco Park.
Yeah, so you stayed at Hotel Indigo.
Yeah. And I've never seen anything like that. Like, it was clean. It was the weather was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And in other downtowns, it's not the same. Like, it's not.
Right. So we have 6 neighborhoods in downtown. So you were staying in East Village. And a lot of times people are like, oh, I live downtown. Well, where do you live? Or I'm going downtown. Well, where are you going? You know, we have Little Italy, Cortez Hill, Marina, Columbia, Gaslamp. Gaslamp, you know, there's only like a couple of condo buildings there, but, you know, there's not a lot of people who live in Gaslamp. And then you have East Village, and East Village is where the ballpark is. And so each one of the neighborhoods brings something special and unique, and it has its own vibe, own set of beautiful, wonderful restaurants. And if you need recommendations, I got you. Because, I mean, I think I like to say I've eaten at all of the best restaurants in downtown and most of San Diego. Like Oceanside, Wrench and Rodent, if you like sushi, like a lot of people don't even know about that, you know, and I've been going there for like, I think 5 years. So it's not that I only know about downtown. I'm so passionate about our downtown because there's just so much to offer.
Yeah.
You can take a ferry ride to Coronado, be in Coronado in 15 minutes. You don't even need to take a car. You know, you can jet ski, you can kayak like in the bay, and, you know, ride a bike around downtown. I mean, there's a lot of bike lanes. We have 21 parks downtown. So there's a new one that's being built right now that's been in the works for 10 years. It opens in September, East Village Green. So there's so many things happening. You have the USS Midway, you know, obviously, San Diego's a big military town with North Island, Camp Pendleton, 32nd Street, and then the Buds Training in Coronado. We have military is a big force here, and having the USS Midway, that's a big attraction downtown. You have the airport. You know, a lot of airports aren't always downtown. You're 10 minutes to the airport. You know, we have the San Diego Zoo. It's one of the top 10 zoos in the United States. That's downtown. So we have the Rady Shell. That was all philanthropic money. That's almost $150 million. And if you're flying over it, it looks like kind of the Sydney Opera House, but it has a very unique style, seats 10,000 people. I was actually just there last night watching Ludacris. And the great thing is you don't even need a ticket. You can grab a blanket, pack a picnic, and just sit outside, and it's all public. There's a lot of public seating, so you don't even need to, if you know there's an artist or somebody you want to see, obviously the more popular ones like John Legend, you have to go early, but I mean, we showed up around 7 o'clock and, you know, there were thousands of people, but we got a seat right outside.
That's awesome. I don't know any city that offers something
we have like so many great things about San Diego. Like I can keep talking and talking and talking. One of the other things that is one of my favorite places, and it's the place that I meditated on because I needed to make the tough decision. Am I getting out of television? Am I changing careers? I mean, that's kind of ominous after 16 years you've been doing something. And I had a huge love affair with television and being, you know, a journalist for so many years. And so Coronado is one of my favorite places. So there's a bench that I go meditate at there. And then just you know, like, I guess a few blocks away is the Dell. And the Del Coronado is a historic landmark. And when the owners built it back in 1888, more than 135 years ago, they wanted it to be the talk of the West, right? And it definitely is the talk of the West. If you walk around the Hotel Del, you hear all kinds of different languages. It has its own energy. You can go grab an ice cream, grab a slice of pizza, listen to music on Sunday, and grab a taco. Just walk by, you know, it's a winter wonderland. It's like a photo op for any influencer, anybody. You can just keep snapping photos, and it's like right in front of the ocean, right? So they recently had a $550 million renovation. It's finally done. So the renovation is done after, I want to say like it's taken since 2018 and $550 million. So there's been scaffolding around all of, you know, the Dell, and finally when you see it, to have a hotel that's 135 years old look like it's brand new is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. I was there, and it's funny to see, not funny, but interesting to see during the different seasons how it changes. Like you mentioned Winter Wonderland.
Yeah.
I was there, and it's so, like, you look to the right and there's a skating rink, like an ice rink.
Right in front of the ocean.
Yeah, and to the left and there's sand.
Yeah, I know. It's so cool. And then have those little igloos that you can rent, and you can get hot chocolate and just like listen to the music, and it has its own vibe in itself. But like the Dell is like, it's almost a mile on the ocean, right? So like they have all of that space is all dedicated to the Dell, which is a lot of people don't know that the Hotel Dell is a historic landmark. Marilyn Monroe shot the movie Some Like It Hot. Have you watched the movie?
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, but but you got to watch the movie. Okay. It's a good movie.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously presidents, diplomats, all sorts of people over the years, because we're coming on 2 centuries of a hotel being there, right? Yeah. But I mean, what I find magnificent is you go there and you can just see and hear all different languages. Like people from all around the world come there and vacation in our city, right? And it's just such a like vacation destination that, and then you're bound to like leave Coronado and come to downtown and venture out to other cities. And so I know that a lot of people have a dream of living here, and I get to live here. It's like a dream come true.
Yeah, and it's funny too. So you mentioned the vacation thing. The first thing I do when I go on vacation is I check the weather. Yeah. When is the best time to visit?
It's always the best weather. So now I will say the first year I moved here, everybody talked about how like San Diego weather was so great for 3 months. Now, no joke, for 3 months, the sun didn't come out. Wow. May gray, June gloom, July gray, right? So it was kind of sad because, it was just gloomy, right? Yeah. But those are actually not the months to come visit San Diego. We'll have some days that are like, really sunny in May and June, July. But really, I think where we excel in San Diego is like August all the way to like March. Like those are the months. I mean, we have 80-degree days in December or November. Thanksgiving, Christmas, we're wearing shorts. I mean, where else can you do that? I was born in Chicago, and I thought all kids had to shovel snow. So I'm like happy that I am never leaving the city, because it's perfect.
Yeah, you're right. I remember now when I was at the ice rink, there was guys in flip flops and like board shorts, it's so crazy. Yeah, it's so crazy. Can we talk a little bit more about the Andia?
Yeah, so Andia is brand new construction. Okay. It's on the corner of 8th and B. 40 stories, 399 condos. They'll be completed in 2027, in fall of 2027. And the cool thing is we're in the sales gallery right now. Right when you walk outside, you can see it being built. Yeah. Every 8 to 10 days, there's a new floor going up. So you can watch it. Like if you picked your condo, you can actually see it being built. How cool is that?
Every week they add a new floor?
Every 8 to 10 days, pretty much, they add a new floor. That's crazy. And it's going to be 40 stories. It's going to have beautiful views. Yeah. So right now, like if you were interested, and they just opened the sales office. It was private sales. Now it's open to the public. But if you were interested in getting in, they've had a exceptional start. So we can't share any numbers just yet, but they've sold quite a bit. And if you do want a condo facing the direction you want, in my opinion, talk to me. I can set up an appointment at the gallery for you and show you around. And right now you can pick your palette. There's 2 options that you have, and then there's an actual 1-bedroom unit that you can see. So you can see your finishes, you can see how high, tall ceilings, you can see what your appliances are going to look like. So you can take a look at what a 1-bedroom will look like. Yeah. So it's pretty phenomenal. Yeah.
And like you said earlier, it's pretty rare, right? Because this hasn't happened in a really long time in San Diego.
Yeah. And 6 years. 6 years is when he finished Savina. That's his last. Nat Bosa built Savina. Bosa Development did. He didn't personally get with the hammer and start building, but
And I don't know if we can stress enough the importance of being able to pick where your home will be? Because sometimes when you're out buying a existing
When
home,
you're buying resale, you don't get the option. And sometimes there's only, so downtown right now, we have about 300 condos for sale, right? And so out of that, that's in 6 neighborhoods. And so if there's a building, maybe there's like 2 or 3 or 4 options, right? So you don't have the option of like necessarily, I want to be on this floor, I want to face southwest, northwest, south. Here you get that option right now. And so that's pretty phenomenal.
Oh, it's huge. I've purchased houses where in the evening, the sun is like right on my bedroom, and I hate it.
Right.
Because
it gets too hot.
Yeah. Or opposite, right? It's facing the living room, and then during the day, like it's unbearable.
Right.
So that you get to face which way the sun sets, which way the sun comes up. Do you want a view of the ocean? Do you want a view of the city? Do you not want a view? Do you want to be on the bottom floor?
And they have 10 work live lofts. So if you wanted to be on the bottom floor and you had a business, that's another option too. So they have options for everybody. And some of the things that make this building stand out. So when you're buying a high rise, one of the main questions is, okay, what are the amenities that come in the high rise? And this blows any other building out of the water. 30,000 square feet of amenities. They have everything and anything you can think of. They have like a pet grooming station, a coffee bar, a sky lounge on the 40th floor. So they have 5 fire pits, and then views, like phenomenal views. You can work from up there. They have obviously a massive gym, a sauna, steam room. They have a gaming room. They also have a room where, like, if you just bought something and you need to put it together, like, there's a room to put things together. I mean, and one of my favorite features, which kind of goes underrated, but when you're downtown and you're picking or dropping up somebody off at a building, there's not a dedicated lane for you. But here you're going to pull in under the building and then go all the way under the building to exit out. So you're not like blocking traffic. So downtown, there's not a lot of space. So there's going to be this whole feeling of arrival, like when you go to Vegas and you're underneath the hotel. So this is similar to that.
Yeah. And then again, one of the perks of buying from a new building, like they thought of all those little things and were able to incorporate it into the construction. Whereas you're buying resale, they're kind of just working with what they have.
Yeah, and most of the resale buildings downtown, I mean, like I said, the last one was built 6 years ago. Yeah. Before that, it was a year before that. But a lot of the buildings are coming up on their, 10, 20 year mark, right? And so if you can buy something brand new, and and they have you can buy a condo. Now these ones don't have parking, but they start at $550,000. So it's something for everyone. And they all go all the way right underneath $2 million, right? So you're nothing over $2 million. So those prices, are pretty palatable for most people, right? I mean, when you're talking about the average price of a condo downtown, it's in line with that.
Yeah.
Eddie, this is the model for Andia, and we were talking about it earlier. And so now you can see this is 40 stories tall. You can see that the pool, this is part of the amenities. There's going to be a park on the side of the building, the pool, 3 pools on the 5th floor, sky lounge on the 40th floor. And you can see how magnificent this building is going to be. On the corner of 8th and B, it's going to be coming fall of 2027. And if you are in the market for buying a new condo, why not buy a new construction condo? So you obviously get to pick which direction you want to face, which floor you want to be on, what palette. You get to pick between 2 palettes, natural and modern. So Eddie, we're inside the showroom of Andia. So this is a model of what a 1-bedroom looks like. So you can see the finishes, you can see the ceiling height, almost 9 feet. Gas stovetop, one of my favorite features. This is what the view on the 28th floor would look like.
Can we talk a little bit about, from when I first met you, there's something different about you.
I love you.
There's something different. Just the attention to detail, like literally across everything, right? Just the attention to detail. And I've noticed it with every customer that we've helped you with, the attention to all the little details. And I don't want to go over too much, but like when you started talking about ratios, the building ratios, the HOA ratios, and I'm like, nobody, and I do work with a lot of realtors, nobody's ever brought up the HOA ratios, and I'm like, okay, this is different. This is different. And the research that you do in whatever area, right? Like, the customer that we were working on in Temecula, where you were working on the researching if it's Airbnb and all the research that you do that makes it truly unique.
Yeah. So, that was one of the things when I did like take into consideration when I was moving careers, right? Because I get to take so much of what I did. I mean, when you're a journalist, you're researching to another level, right? And really, really digging deep. And I love that. That's what brings me to life, like really getting to the bottom of it. And there's so much about real estate that most people just don't know. If you watch some of these shows and you think that's what we do as realtors, you have it all wrong. I mean, sometimes I've put in 50 to 100 hours into something and gotten paid zero. So you have to do it because you love it, right? And so, I mean, obviously I love it. I've been doing it for, 7+ years.
No, and then it also goes to show because of the relationships that you've built and then the repeat customers that you've had. You've told me stories where you've helped people move up, like life-changing amounts of money and equity because of where they made the right purchase.
Yeah, I have a client who's made more than $1 million with the decision, and again, in that decision, it was a multiple offer situation, and they had to pay significantly over the price of a home. And I told them that this is a very unique property, right? And they still were getting in at I feel like a good deal. But since then, the home's gone up more than $1 million. It's 1.2 million. And most of my clients have made, I've been selling homes for 7 years. So, look back 7 years, you have $500,000, $600,000, $250,000 equity in a home. So when people talk about, oh, why should I buy real estate? It's so expensive, I can't afford it. You got to really think about right now it's a buyer's market, and yeah, we have a lot of inventory, but you just have to know how to manage it. You have to know how to talk to sellers. Hey, you cannot overprice your home, because if you do, the days on market is going to keep going up, and you're going to realize after 60 days that I was right, and you're going to reduce your price, right? And then when buyers come in, they'll be like, oh, there's a sale because it's been on the market for 60 days, right? And buyers right now, oh, I'm going to just wait. Wait for what? Right now you can get seller concessions in the form of a rate buy down, a reduction on price, or both. So it really makes sense to, hey, the interest rates are high right now, but once they get to a level that I can refinance, I'm going to refinance them. And I don't have to write an offer, and be competitive versus 15 other offers, right? So you just have to kind of know how to navigate and work with somebody. My partner and I, we've been doing this collectively for almost 30 years. And I'm kind of proud to say that I work with George Verdugo. He's a developer who, has built beautiful homes from the ground up. And he brings his own wealth of knowledge as an investor developer. And then you have my knowledge. And when you pair those together, it's like kind of unstoppable.
Yeah, I think that's where we're similar. That initial, I don't know if you call it interview process of, hey, let's talk about what you want and what your goals are here. And then let me use my expertise to sort of guide you in the right direction. Because like you mentioned, you guys are versed in many different things, from not just high rises to luxury properties on the beach.
Multifamily homes, land, and I mean, is this going to be a good investment for you? And like the laws are constantly changing. Like in the city of San Diego right now, they had relaxed the ADU laws, but now the city is pulling back. What does that mean if you're buying a property and you think you can put 2 or 3 ADUs in the back? Well, how do you know? Well, there's a lot of things I can't tell you in real estate, but I know all the resources to get you the answers, right? So you can do your own diligence, but I'll make it easy for you. Here's the person you call. Here's where you go, and that's what you want in an agent. You don't want the agent to be clueless, right? But because we do so many different things and we're always on top of it, I think that there's like no better agent. Like if somebody was looking like I'm like, I wish I had an agent like myself. You know, if I was looking for a home, I would want to work with myself because I know that I'm going to cross every T and dot every I, you know?
Yeah. No, I've purchased homes where I'm the one negotiating, you know?
You're like, no, I think this is fine.
Yeah, I'm the one negotiating. I'm like, what are you here for?
What are you here for?
Why do I need you?
Well, you know, I mean, sometimes some people are more savvier than others, right? But we're there for a lot of other things, you know? That whole journey of a transaction is a lot, you know? And it's, I think a lot of times, you know, with the whole commission lawsuit that happened last year and having everybody sign a buyer agreement, it's like, what value? And I know the value that I bring. So I don't have any qualms about it, you know? And I tell people, this is what I need. And this is my livelihood and my profession. And this is what I do day in, day out. I don't do this part-time, you know? And for, you know, the agents who do it part-time, you know, it's like, take the risk, take the plunge, go full-time, you know?
Yeah, I think as a customer too, I know so many times you want to work with those that you know, but so many times they're not the best qualified. And it's really important to find a qualified person to represent you, whether you're buying or selling, like you said, to help you navigate, right?
Right.
Yeah. So something that recently happened with a customer that I was helping you with, the property that we're looking at wasn't the right fit for them because of the HOA and the reserves. Can you talk a little bit about how the HOA reserves affects the purchase and why it's a good idea to research that? Yeah,
well, that's one of the most important things because I am knowledgeable about condos, and one of the big things you want to ask is, what are the HOA reserves? A lot of times you may get pushback and they won't give you that information until you're in escrow, but you want to ask, hey, find out what the HOA reserves are, what percentage. And you want to be north of, I mean, ideally you would want to be more than 50%. But that is important, and you want to know what upcoming assessments are happening. So you may buy the condo, and then that year there's going to be a $10,000 one-time assessment. Well, that's a lot of money. And did you plan for that? Did your agent do the due diligence to find that out? You know, living downtown, between downtown and Bankers Hill, you have 160 condo buildings, right? Not all of them are high rises. Some of them are smaller units, right? So there's a lot of condos. There's a lot to know, right? Some of the major, like some of the high rises, you'll know what the reserves are because you've sold in there, but some of the smaller ones you may not be familiar with. And so it's just, if you've been doing this long enough, you know the right questions to ask. But that's why if you don't work with somebody who specializes in condos or is sold in a condo, you may not know the questions to ask. I mean, there's a lot of other questions that come into play, and that's why you want to work with somebody like myself, you know? And my business partner, George, he's probably sold, you know, more than I have. He has sold more than I have downtown, more than 300 condos. I mean, that's when you're talking about next level expert. Yeah. So the risk of having, buying in a building that has a low reserve is that your mortgage might go up because your HOA. Well, you may have a one-time like assessment, you know, just to keep in line with like every year. So your HOAs, if they were $400 this year, the board may decide, well, they're going to raise them to $150, you know, because they need to build the reserves up, right? So your HOAs aren't just going to go up the normal 3% every year that they would normally go up, and then you could have like a one-time assessment. Got it. So, you know, because those are usually older buildings, right? But this was an older building that we're talking about, the situation in Escondido. The HOA just wasn't managed properly. So a lot of times you would think that a building that's 30 years old, 40 years old, it has high reserves, but it didn't, because it wasn't managed well. And that's the biggest problem with HOAs, that they're not managed properly. And you find out that how can a building with 200, you know, people living there, 250 people paying an HOA for years, why is the reserve at 20%, at 30%? Yeah. Why? Yeah. Well, because it wasn't managed correctly. Yeah. You know, those are the questions you want to ask. That makes sense. Thank you, Kaushal. Is there, before we come to an end, anything else that you want to talk about? No, I think we covered a lot. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just hope that if anybody's ever looking in San Diego, that they give me the opportunity to just have a conversation with me.
No,
you know,
of course. And if we didn't already make it clear enough, like you really are an expert in the entire city, not just the downtown area.
Yeah, I love our downtown, and obviously our downtown. There's so much to love about it. But I've sold in every city, in Oceanside, in Vista, in San Marcos, in Rancho Santa Fe, in La Jolla, Kensington, North Park. You know, so I mean, we have a lot of great neighborhoods. You know, there's Mission Valley, we have Coronado, there's Santee, you know, there's Otay, Chula Vista, San Isidro. I mean, there's so many great neighborhoods, and I've sold in all of them, so I am familiar with all of them. You know, if I could just sell in one city, and any agent who says, "Oh, I only sell here," they're lying to you. You're not only selling there. You have to sell everywhere. And that's what I love. Like, it's different. You never know, you know, somebody want a house in Poway, somebody want a house, you know, like in Rancho Bernardo, Rancho Penasquitos. I mean, you know, so you're constantly learning more about your city, right? So you can't say that you just sell one place. You could prefer to sell in one place, but we sell everywhere. Mission Hills, that's the bulk of where we've sold most of our homes, you know? So
there you have it, guys. So if you're not sure what city or what part of San Diego you want to live in, reach out to Kaushal. Thank you, guys.